What do I think of the graph's plans? Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but very recently they made a post talking about how the graph is evolving. Now, with what way is it evolving? Now, supposedly, they say with the rise of AI and new demands in Web3, the protocol is expanding its capabilities to empower developers, analysts, AI agents, and more. So I find this pretty interesting. And more specifically, I do kind of like their emphasis when it comes to AI, when it comes to this, because heading into 2026, even though as of right now, I don't think I've seen an altcoin season, we've seen moments of brilliance when it comes to projects that are focused on AI so far during this cycle. So if let's say there was even an altcoin season, who knows whenever that will be. However, in 2025, it's highly unlikely at this point, right? But heading into 2026, who knows? So if let's say I've seen during this cycle, AI have a pretty good narrative sometimes when it comes to the projects and how it's affected it so far when altcoins had a better sentiment, what could it be? When it comes to these type of projects that have a AI focus, if there was an actual altcoin season, somewhat reminiscent, if let's say, of what we saw back in 2021, if there was something like that this time around, again, what could happen when it comes to projects that have this vibe of AI? Who knows? Only time will tell, but if it was something pretty cool, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. So I do like the graph here having this sort of AI focus, I would say, arguably moving forward. Because we have to consider, when it comes to the graph, if I was just to put it in quite simple terms, right? It's like helping developers use relevant data to increase the efficiency of their application, basically. When it comes to this space, I find that pretty cool because if it's helping developers, hypothetically, maybe increase the efficiency of an application, or should I say their applications, I find it pretty, again, such a cool thing actually, because in the grand scheme of things, there's thousands and thousands of applications within this space. So if the graph could help increase the efficiency of some of those, or maybe even a lot of those, wouldn't that be such a cool thing, I guess? When it comes to some other projects out there, they're in a very competitive niche with a lot of competitors. And also on top of that, they're also in very kind of trendy sort of sectors, right? But it doesn't feel like that to me when it comes to the graph because it's not a project that's going to kind of, I think, be worried if there's more developers or more applications because the more developers, the more applications, wouldn't that mean that hypothetically there's more of what is the graph trying to help? It doesn't mean that they're all going to gravitate towards this, by the way. I'm not saying that, but isn't there more theoretically of what it could, help? It's like, for instance, if I opened a cheeseburger restaurant, right? If there's more people in the area that want to eat cheeseburgers, now, are they automatically all going to come to my restaurant? No. I mean, that's not realistic. But then I'm just saying, like, if let's say there was more of what I'm trying to serve for my business, why would I be complaining, even though I know that not all are going to eat in my restaurant? But besides that point, that's just kind of the vibe that I have here when it comes to the graph. Now, not to mention, when I take a look at it as well, people like to say, well, when it comes to GRT, it's down by quite a significant amount. And I'll agree with that. I mean, when it comes to $2, still very far away. Right now, it's around 54 times lower than that. But you know what? When I take a look at the graphs, kind of somewhat focused on AI, arguably, I would say, from what I can see from their post recently, and not to mention, I take a look at Horizon, right? The Horizon upgrade, which I talked about in greater detail when it comes to the graph. So yeah, feel free to check that video out. It's my, like, most recent the graph video before this video. But besides that point, when I take a look at the graph, I'm still excited, I would say, when it comes to the fundamentals. Now, when it comes to the price of GRT, that's a completely different case. I cannot control that. However, you know what? I'll see what happens heading into 2026 because, again, I don't think I've seen altcoin season during the cycle, but who knows what things could be in 2026. My kind of mentality is this. If let's say I wasn't in this space, I wasn't holding anything and I just kind of exited, which I could do, but I don't want to do. But I'm saying, if let's say I did do that, I'm still going to have to live my life anyways, right? I'm still going to have to do things that I do on a day-to-day basis, be it in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, whatever the case may be in 2026 and even beyond. So if let's say either I'm holding or I'm not, I'm still going to have to be waiting those times anyways. That's the way to take a look at it. So I'm just going to be holding, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is just my perspective because in my perspective, I'm going to be waiting anyways in both instances. So personally for me, I'd rather just wait and see what happens because in theory, things could hypothetically be different. How different will it be? Who knows? But this is why I'm still staying patient. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. I'm out. Peace. Bye.